On this channel, I talk about how I acquire video games. I go into various shops and I pick up games that are undervalued, or we go to boot sales and we pick things up and flip them on. And I very rarely talk about me actually playing the games themselves. Today, I want to talk about something that I've never spoken about on this channel before, and that is how we play our video games. Okay, so for me personally, I will wait till the evening till my wife's gone to sleep. She works really early in the morning, so she tends to go to bed at like 8:30, 9 o'clock, which is fantastic for me because it means I get a solid 3 to 4 hours of video games in. That means I'm downstairs on the sofa and she's upstairs sleeping, and she's a very, very light sleeper. So I can't have the volume blasting out of the TV. Therefore, I have to use headphones. Now, for the longest time, and I mean years at this point, I've been using these generic, bog standard wired in-ear headphones, and they are not very good. They don't have a brand, they're probably worth about 12 pence, and they sound like I'm listening to the video game through a tin of beans or something. It's not a good experience, but I've never really considered upgrading them because I don't want to splash out loads of money on headphones, and I feel like to get a better experience than what I'm having here, I'd need to spend a lot on a good pair of headphones, right? Well, maybe not quite, because that's where today's sponsor comes in, and that is Raycon Everyday Earbuds. Now, I'm going to be completely transparent, as I've mentioned, and as you've probably seen in the video already, this is a sponsored video. However, I am going to give you an honest opinion on these. And that's why I don't do many sponsorships on here on the channel, because I make it clear to the brand that, hey, I'm going to be honest, and then they go, oh, actually... No. Raycon are a reputable brand, and they were more than happy to send me these, knowing I was going to give them a very honest review. Now, the package itself is very neat and compact. You get a little slip cover over a box with some literature inside. You get this little case underneath the literature, and of course your earbuds are located inside. We'll get to those in just a second. It is Type-C charging, which was very nice to see. And of course you have a few other bits and bobs in there as well, extra tips for the headphones themselves, etc. The first thing I looked for actually when I opened these was the build quality. Are these cheap feeling? Do they look cheap? And of course, will they sound cheap? But in terms of the build quality itself, no, they don't feel cheap. This is a very well put together product, and they do feel robust. I will admit though that having not really tried many earbuds or headphones in general in the last 10 years, I put them in wrong initially, and when I started listening to them I thought, oh my days, you have to actually put them in the cavity of your ear. And then all of a sudden I was introduced to a world of sound, and the difference between using generic wired headphones to these things right here was night and day. I actually couldn't believe it. I've been living in the past. What is your current method of playing video games? Do you have to have the TV blaring, or do you have headphones? Maybe you haven't really thought about what headphones you have and you just have a generic pair like I did. Maybe you were thinking about upgrading or just changing out for something that you can use for anything and everything. You wouldn't necessarily think to use in earbuds, for example, to play video games. I know a lot of people have those like big gaming headsets that they put over ear, which is fine of course, but if you want one pair of headphones that can literally do anything and everything, and that's why they're called everyday earbuds, when you're playing a game that relies on listening to footsteps, explosions, and you just want to be immersed in the world, having bog standard cheap headphones, it just doesn't cut it, and you don't realize that because you get used to it. But once you upgrade, you will never want to go back to those bog standard headphones. And that does bring me on to the whole have one pair of headphones to do everything with. Why not, right? So you can be using these to be playing your video game, and then you need to leave the house. So you turn the system off, you leave the house, you can keep them in, you don't even notice you've got them in half the time. They are actually very comfortable, and like I said, they do come with all those extra tips that you can change so they will fit your ear canal. And then you could just connect them to your phone easily enough and continue on your walk or your drive or wherever you want to go. And they even have like a passive mode on them, so you can hear what's happening around you outside of the headphone while you're still listening to music or a podcast or whatever it may be. You can obviously do the basic things with these, like make and receive calls. You can navigate through music using, you know, Spotify, Apple Music, that kind of thing. You have unique sound profiles. You can up the bass, you can isolate the audio for the voice, for example, and you can navigate through all of these just using the headphones. There's no like interface or anything. You don't need to be reading a screen to do this. It's just certain button presses on the earbuds themselves. Of course, I haven't spoken about the biggest and best selling selling point of these, the price. You can pay a fortune for headphones, and I'm sure many of you have done, but when you compare them to like a competitor, like Apple's a product for example, these are so much cheaper. At £66 on the website right now, that is an unbelievably good price. You get like 32 hours of battery life out of these as well. But not only are they insanely cheap anyway at 66 quid, you can check these out now and get 15% off with the link in the video description. And once again, thank you to Raycon for sponsoring today's video. I'll have a series video out for you very, very soon. If you'd like to check out a video from that series, you can click here. And until the next time, goodbye.